The Call of Duty League is presented by Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The US Army wants your warrior.
It is day 3 of CDL Super Week, and we are thrilled. Royal Ravens taking on Dallas Empire for our first match of the day. Lando and Study guiding you through the action as we are here in the CDL virtual studio. Study, I got to ask you, my friend, how you doing? We hit some 3-0s yesterday, hoping for some brighter days today.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for some more extended series, Lando. Yesterday went by way too fast, and don't forget, it is Super Week. So there's non-stop Call of Duty all the time. I would just like for some of these series to go a little longer. So I'm expecting today to be a lot better.
Definitely. I'm hoping that we can have some closer games. But obviously, before we get right into the games, we obviously have to meet our teams. As Lottie called them, our European Kings. Let's go ahead and meet the Royal Ravens.
Once he gets up top, and frankly, he has no intention of slowing down. Alex, though, with the angles once again. The Ravens wins a big one from across the pond.
And those are your Royal Ravens. Obviously got a chance to look at these guys yesterday, and they are definitely hoping for a rebound. Alex and Dylan, two guys, obviously, who are super influential to this team. Obviously, they're still rocking with Parasite. This will be his third series with the team, as they pretty much wait for Trey, right? Wait for Zero. I mean, what, Stud? We got to obviously cast over these guys yesterday. Just not a good day. Really hoping to rebound here versus the Empire.
Yeah, man, yesterday was just not a good day overall for the London Royal Ravens. They got absolutely smoked versus the Subliners. Every single map wasn't even close. The Search and Destroy, they only won one round off of a Ninja Defuse, and the Control wasn't even close. Hopefully today, there's some new strategy with the roster, and they're able to bring it in this match.
Absolutely, and they're going to have a very tall task. In fact, matching up against the defending champions from last year. Let's go ahead and meet the Dallas Empire.
Dallas Empire have smashed the gates open. Oh no, Huke is in, you bait. Oh, it's a shot punch. Oh no! Once again, they saved the day.
Those are your Dallas Empire. I mean, what, Study? This roster, top to bottom, I mean, obviously we know what they brought last year. The talent on this team is absolutely undeniable. Of course, they, much like the Ravens, are hoping to rebound, but obviously it was a loss to Minnesota, actually, at the Atlanta home series for Dallas. I mean, normally, obviously, we have the spotlight on a number of different guys. You're looking at the GOAT, you're looking at Shotzzy. A lot of the time, especially through last season. I mean, last year it was Clay. One guy who really didn't get the spotlight often, though, was Huke, and he has been the guy for them. I mean, he is leading in a number of different statistical categories. I mean, #1 overall KD right now. He has been the guy for them, to put it lightly.
Yeah, man, the guy's just an absolute beast with the submachine gun. I'm pretty sure he's at like a 1.3 overall hardpoint KD, even with the loss versus the Røkkr. Don't forget, they lost 2 Search and Destroys in that series, and the game is just started for these guys. I'm expecting these guys in this matchup here just completely wipe the floor with the London Royal Ravens after the performance that they showed me yesterday. Hopefully they're able to prove me wrong. We'll just have to wait and see.
I like the honesty, Study. I do, my friend. Let's go and take a look at our game fuel keys to victory. First, for the Dallas Empire, shake off the loss at the Atlanta home series to the Røkkr, losing both of those Search and Destroys, of course, along with the round 5 control. Continue to play through Huke, playing his best Call of Duty, a 1.39 overall KD, which is good enough for #1 in the CDL, as you called it. Along with a few other things, man. I mean, you got to be looking out for the Dallas Empire at all times. I know what was kind of a lower KD for Shotzzy in the S&Ds that they lost to Minnesota. But again, the talent on this roster is undeniable, and I think it's fair to say they are hungry after the loss that they recently suffered. Let's go and take a look now at the game fuel keys to victory here for London. Study, let's walk me through it.
Yeah, it's going to be Dylan and Alex need to match the SMD duo of Huke and Shotzzy. Yesterday, both of these guys had a 0.5 versus NYSL, and that's just something you don't expect, especially out of two all-star submachine gun players. Come out the gate hot and build momentum to go throughout the rest of the series. Overall, Team KD yesterday was a 0.6. No one played well. Today needs to be different. New energy, new vibes. Bring it, especially starting on that map 1.
Yeah, new vibes, new energy, and some new maps as well. Moscow Hardpoint, Moscow S&D, we got some garrisons, and as well as Miami. If we can get to it. Again, we have been unbelievably unlucky with the 3-0s, and I'll be honest, I think the whole conversation, when we were taking a look at the timeline, there's a lot of people who were kind of putting votes out there, like, hey, who are you going for? Like, everybody's going Empire, like maybe outside of the Ravens social media, which is fantastic, by the way. I mean, everybody's going Empire, I mean, strictly based off of what we saw yesterday from the Ravens. So I think this is really going to be on London to kind of show us something. We were having a number of different talking points yesterday saying, hey, they kind of need a spark. They need somebody to kind of ignite the team, and it just never really happened.
Yeah, it never did the entire time. Even when we went for the Astro Gaming listening on that map 3 during the control, they all just sounded so flustered. There was nothing really going on. I need someone that's going to step up and be the leader of this roster whenever those moments happen. Usually you look at a player like Parasite, who has all that experience from multiple different Call of Duty titles, just competing the entire time. I'm just looking at someone to just step up, be that leader, keep the team calm, keep the vibes clean, and just play the game and have some fun.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun to obviously see exactly how the Ravens look to improve from a few of their faults yesterday. And I think one thing that I actually was looking at, obviously we prepared coming into these matches and stuff, and I was looking at a few stats from Ravens just to kind of get a better idea of like maybe where are the struggles possibly coming from. And I believe that they actually have not won a Game 1 or Game 2 throughout the entirety of the season. So that is something to kind of keep in mind. Not only are they losing some of these games, it's Game 5 to Seattle, obviously the dominant loss to NYSL yesterday, but we kind of have been talking about it, and it worked out versus the series in NYSL. They're just starting off slow, and that's something that is never going to be easy, let alone versus the pace of this Empire team. They're going to be pretty rough to handle, to put it lightly. As we'll go take a look now at our Astro Social soundboard. Love when the franchises get involved with each other. One of Mutineers tweeting at Royal Ravens said, "Hey, we're here for you." Ravens respond back and say, "Have to take the bad with the good," right? I love it, man. I love it when our franchises, our teams go back and forth. It's always a good time. Florida maybe extending a little bit of love to London. And again, it's going to be a hard series for them. But you put it kind of very straight at the start, saying, I'm expecting a dominant performance from Empire. I mean, I know I asked you this a lot yesterday, but who does it have to be for London? Like, I mean, straight up, like, we're talking about this group. It's starting to get away from them. They have yet to win. They could be 0-3 after this game, and you're not really looking well when it comes down to your Group A. Who has to be the guy?
Well, yesterday we saw Shawnee step up versus the Subliners on that map 1. He was the only one positive the entire time, and that's a big problem. You need one of your submachine gun players, and I'm looking at Dylan. This guy has been an all-star ever since he started competing. I remember watching him back in Black Ops 4. He was an absolute beast just with his movement, with his shot. Everything was just clicking for the guy. I feel like for the last couple of titles, he's just been taking that step back. I would like him to get back into that full form that we all know he can be. He's a phenomenal player, and hopefully he's able to show that to us today.
Definitely, man. A big spotlight on this guy, Dylan, who we know the talent, right? I mean, it's undeniable. We have seen sparks of it, obviously, up to this point. Right, in Black Ops 4, I mean, unbelievable player. In Black Ops 4 under Reciprocity. So they have a pretty deep champs run. Obviously, last year with the Ravens. I mean, it was kind of an odd year for London overall, but you got to take a quicker look at the bio of Dylan, right? He's been competing since World War II. Just in general, when we talk about him as a player, he can be that guy for them. And then that was kind of the spotlight, right? Whenever London comes through after the offseason, they lose the Twins, and then everyone's idea is like, okay, right, it was them last year. Who's going to kind of take that mantle? And I feel like it has to be Dylan. I think you have a great SMG support, or another support, I guess you could say, in terms of the SMG line, with somebody like Alex. And it's difficult, too, because you obviously have this guy in Parasite who's filling in right now for Zero. Obviously, we wish Trey that, could obviously be here right now, just given his situation, but they're trying to make do, and it's just the way the competition works, right? You're in a difficult group. I mean, you've had a number of different rough rosters to face off against. You lose that very unfortunate Game 5 to Seattle. Now you find yourself 0-2, very well 0-3 after today's match if somebody does not go off for them.
Well, say, for instance, if they ended up walking away with this series, they would be at a whole different level of just confidence, especially versus a team like the Dallas Empire. So Odo's going to start with that map number 1. Like we said, just build momentum throughout the rest of the series. No one went positive besides Shawnee yesterday in that hardpoint versus New York. And that's just not what you expect. I need these players to step up. They know exactly what situation they are in. Start the league 0-3 is not what you want to do, especially with the mains coming up soon. And hopefully, they're just able to put on the show, man. They have to show up quick, and hopefully it's going to start in this series.
Absolutely. Well, no, I know one thing when we brought up the maps and modes, something to kind of keep in mind. I know there's been a lot of talk amongst the updates and things of that nature. Changes coming to Crossroads, changes coming to Moscow. Obviously, Moscow is going to be our first map. Just to let everybody know, update will not be affecting our players throughout Super Week. We're actually going to be waiting until after Super Week to implement those changes. Obviously, with we have new hardpoints, we have just in general map changes that are coming, and players to have to adapt on the fly like that would never be easy. So something to kind of keep in mind. Some people may be wondering, hey, Moscow looks different for me. Why are they playing on a different looking map, or Crossroads if we see that later in the day? Just something to keep in mind. But speaking of this map, yesterday was not a good time on maps like Checkmate for the Royal Ravens, especially in the respawns. How do you think they fare off on a map like Moscow, though we actually haven't really seen too much ourselves?
On a map like Moscow, it's going to be huge. I'm just looking at players like Parasite and Shawnee to be able to fight iLLeY and Crimsix on that street area. Street is going to be a lot all over this map. Just making sure you're rotating early and not being way too aggressive, trying to flip those spawns. We know exactly how this map needs to be played. You're all going to basically just flood down towards this P1, basically fight the contest. That P2 hardpoint, you have to get up, you have to set up in police, get towards that top window, even hold the left side street through that laundry room just to get a full setup, because some of these hills can be 60s, all depending on how they hold them.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, here we go. Day 3 of CDL Super Week is officially underway. Dallas Empire taking on the London Royal Ravens. London, at least off the start, with preferred spawns, as you had kind of referenced that P2 hardpoint. But again, going to be a big early test for the Ravens to try to handle a lot of this SMG pressure. Obviously, with the ARs, as you talked about, iLLeY and Crimsix. iLLeY especially has been one of those guys who I think has just been unbelievable to start off the year. I know in terms of stats, it may not look like he's obviously their best player, just given Huke's performance, but a lot of different guys to be looking out for Dallas. And the competition, it's just unfortunate that you really have to look at every single player when it comes down to the Empire. As current contests go down right now between Crim and Alex. If you're London, you're just trying to watch every single lane possible, and it looks as if they're just playing somewhat passive to start, which just in general really is kind of the play to make. Big kills coming in from Parasite just to shut down the lanes. Shotzzy, though, definitely one possible spoil things.
Okay, so it's looking like 2 London Royal Ravens players are rotated early. Parasite's going to push out this front right room. You see that number 1 player in Shotzzy taking his time in laundromat. Players from London are trying to rotate back through the street. It's looking like they're going to have a full setup on this P2, and this can be a great start to the map. The start that they need. Look at Dylan and Shawnee, both 4-1. Parasite going huge as well, 5-2. Eventually going to take the lead here, but so far, I love the way that they're playing their hardpoint. They're not being too greedy. You saw the P1 just be contested all the way down to the very end. They were just focusing on spawns. So far, the London Royal Ravens doing everything they can to try to hold this, but here comes Dallas Empire trying to flood through the front.
Here comes Dallas. iLLeY trying to fight for the last few seconds. Huke as well. 1-5 start. Definitely looking at somebody like Huke, who has been absolutely unbelievable, especially when we talk about hardpoint. I think, a 1.54 coming into this series. So at least if you're London, you're able to hold them off early. When we talk about P2, obviously the rotation out of P3, some good early kills coming in from Shawnee, who's really just trying to hold up the spawns from the back end. Put some good shots into Crim, really just trying to free up some time as the last bullet's able to land. Player 4 in Huke still alive, still hunting down, and he's aware of Shawnee's positioning. Shawnee, like I said, just going to hold the spawn for now, try to keep London afloat, as it is Dallas trying to fire their way through that back bank side.
Yeah, the Ravens so far, man, they're playing this hardpoint really well. They were able to get at least 20-30 seconds on that P2. They rotate a little bit early. Shawnee wins a big gunfight on the Shotzzy in the back to secure his team the spawns. Now they're just picking up a lot of time here. If you're Dallas Empire, this can get scary real quick. iLLeY trying to work around the backside, but he's going to get taken down by Dylan. The remaining time should go to the Ravens here. And it's looking like Dallas is trying to commit through the front. Once this gets shut down, though, they're going to have to start rotating towards bus, especially for that P4.
Great call with 10 seconds left. Empire finally able to get just to get their foot inside of the door. Points finally getting on the scoreboard. What, after our first few hills, Shotzzy 2 and 7, 4 and 9 for Crimsix, and on the London side, totally different story, right? Shawnee 10 and 3, you got Dylan 10 and 4, now 11 and 4, going on some streaks. So a much different looking Raven roster coming into today, and they are also going to be set up for Boulevard quite well. The ARs trying to fire out hot and heavy. Parasite pretty much leading the way toward the front side, putting in a few shots. There goes iLLeY. Can he find one onto Shotzzy? Not going to happen, but holding the line about as well as you'd like them to. A few side flanks being attempted from the Empire, but nothing able to land. Nobody just is dropping, at least in terms of as fast as they need to. Who's trying to cause some issues, but Alex is instantly on top of it. Tries to win the fight versus Huke, and there could be the opening for Empire. The problem is 15 seconds left, and that's really the only kind of type of time that we have seen Empire get study. It's kind of been these last 10 to 15 seconds across the last 2 hills.
Yeah, the Ravens have been holding beautifully on the first set of rotations on these hard points. Every single time they need to break, they always have the numbers. They're forcing Dallas Empire to spawn completely on the opposite side of the map when those kills are going down, and I just really like this map so far for the Ravens. The way that they're setting up Parasite and Shawnee with those assault rifles, making sure they're taking the long routes, holding down the street pinches. They're doing it really well. Hopefully they can continue on throughout the second rotation of these hard points.
Much better looking Ravens. Empire looking to try and have a better second set of rotations. In fact, let's actually go ahead and have an Astro Gaming listen with Dallas.
Esky,
street. I'm on this guy's street. Laundry in the tree.
Yeah, laundry in the tree. Whoever's on hill, take your time.
Yeah,
I'm going around right.
Yeah,
go ahead. Help me around right. Yeah, I needed one. Laundry porter.
Right.
I needed him. He's hurt.
I'm looking at flash.
Oh, Esky got me, bro. Yeah, go around right. Go around right. You're stacking Esky heavy, guys.
Yeah. Go right.
There you go right. Everyone go right. Hey, he child. Where is he?
He went globe.
He went on the tree. On the tree.
Yep. Go. Yo, we're going one by one.
Yeah, they're two globes.
Yeah,
he's challenging it.
I got him.
Good win it. Good shit. Let's go. I'm going around middle again.
He's on globe.
Everyone team up.
Nice. Wait. I might want to just hit front. Yeah. Let's go.
From here, what's your porter? One to right, porter.
I'm trying to heal. I got Shawnee. I died.
Right. I'm
Yo, he got me.
Close it. Yeah, they're all there.
All good.
Alright, slow down.
Yeah, slow down.
Yeah, no, we're good though. Player game.
We
gotta push mid, right?
Yep,
where'd he go? He's right side mid. Right side mid. Good job.
One top window and tree it all.
Alright, let's go.
One tail and top window. Yeah.
Top window, Shawnee.
Yo, listen. Everyone rotate right now.
Yeah, we need rotation.
We're gonna be street. I'm trying to get to bank quick.
Go ahead. Looking for street. One in front.
I'll see another middle. Alright.
I have all the front right now, boys.
Alright.
I don't see anything street. I'm holding street.
Yo, I got closet.
Two street on me.
Yeah, okay.
I backed up.
Yeah, back up.
I didn't see nothing at all.
Back up, Kyler.
Yeah, I did.
I'm playing like the back corner, okay?
Hey, can you see my crossing?
I'm watching in bank. One's in bank.
A totally different looking Ravens. I mean, what's that? He kind of threw out the comms as Huke's able to drop one. Actually, overall, based off the team fire inside a bank, it was really them just kind of going back and forth, saying, "Hey, they're holding this well. They're doing this pretty solid when it comes down to that last hill over at P2." I mean, in general, I thought comms were pretty good given the circumstances.
I thought comms were all there, but you could just tell the frustration on Crimsix. He literally said, "We're going one by one. We have to slow down. We have to focus on the rotation." So far, London Roar Ravens, they have just been dominating, especially at that P2 hardpoint. The rotation from P1 to P2, they have someone that's pushed up on that street, which was Parasite, able to just play the kills, then just making the Dallas Empire players just flood one by one. That's why they're able to build such a drastic lead, but you're going to see the Empire able to fight back with a good amount of time on this P3 hardpoint. Now it's all about trying to keep control of this bank side and forcing them to spawn out deep street for P4.
Yeah, just about, what, 40-50 point lead right now for Ravens coming into some good old Boulevard. Shawnee instantly off of rotation, just wants to be set up really just to try to keep that lead intact. Of course, trying to be aware of bank. Shotzzy walks out, instantly dropped, and odds are still going to be there, of course, for Empire. We'll see how well Parasite can be tuned for it. 3 jump out, and really just the amount of weapons, the amount of guns aimed at them, only so much that you can do as Dallas looks to try to fire back to get themselves really involved in this game. Able to have a nice sequence there over at P3, and now Dylan coming in from the side, 20 and 14 for him. Has a nice little sequence, but in general, he'll get cut down. Empire regain control, have 15 more seconds left. Parasite through the flank, able to take down Crim. Instantly gets dropped himself, so another somewhat of a contest fest, but really as the dust begins to settle, as we kind of reflect on what was that second set of rotations, London still in a firm advantage despite a few good increases here from Empire late.
Yeah, London is just setting up perfectly. Every time they know that they're not going to get the remaining time at the old hill, they're having a full setup at every single time that they're rotating. So far, they have dominated on P1 again. Let's see how Dallas Empire decide to play this. I would like them to play a little more aggressive, but 2 are going to go down for them as I say that. Parasite is going to get traded. Now some time is going to go in towards Dallas. But Shawnee with the big 2-piece with that XM4, 22 and 12. All the players from the Ravens stepping up, making a statement on this game number 1. Like I said, building a momentum. We were asking if Dylan and Alex were going to be able to match Shotzzy and Huke, and so far Dylan is doing a lot for his team. Rotating early, winning key gunfights. They can continue this up. They should be able to close out this map number 1.
Yeah, I mean, there were some real questions yesterday after the series saying, hey, Dylan and Alex, can they be the guys for London to step up? Do they have what it takes, especially given the competition that we have? Again, map by no means over just as yet, as the Empire still to try to regain some control. Alex able to drop 1 and really just releases the intel of where Shotzzy's position is. But what? Not just 1, 2, but 3 rotations in a row. And that is going to be the Royal Ravens locking down P2. A nice shot, Granite, coming in from Shotzzy as he'll try to free up a few of those lanes, and that's exactly what's going to happen. iLLeY and Crimsix are able to fire away with the leftover 2. Ravens still, 40 points away. Dallas Empire trying to keep themselves in it, and they do exactly what they need to given the circumstances. Johnny with a nice pick. The AR from Parasite as well is firing nice. A little bit of a team kill comes in from Shawnee, but in general, it will be the Ravens grabbing the last 20 seconds. They do get the spawns there. And this is going to be a very difficult situation for the Empire throughout the remainder of this game. But we're looking at 234, roughly, right around there. 230, 240, okay. So roughly 10 more seconds, 20 more seconds for the Ravens in order to lock this one down. Empire, they have got to pull off something special in order to do that. And given the Ravens' current positioning, given the spawns of where they're at right now, you'd like to think it's just a matter of time, but do not mark off the defending champions just yet. That's going to be 3 in the feed. Shotzzy trying to make the Ravens uncomfortable. So instantly find himself on the flank. Nice work there, sending up somewhat of a crossfire, as Huke will have to get out of dodge for now. You're really just trying to set up a few players for success, and given the spawn situation, Empire managing this just about as good as you'd like. Here come the streaks, just to try to distance a few players out of the hill. And given those, and really just given the fights that we see around the HP, it's going to be the Ravens who now hop back inside things. Shotzi's going to be here for the trade, Shiny in the midst of things, going to be on a 5 spree. Can anybody from the Empire get there in time? And the answer is no. And what a turnaround from day 1 now to day 2. A complete stomping yesterday the Ravens received versus the NYSL. Now they come out in map 1 versus the Dallas Empire and hand them their first loss in Hardpoint in the CDL season.
I can't even believe that, man. Hats off to the Ravens right there. Everybody came to play today. If you're the Dallas Empire, not a single one of you guys went positive on that map. It's because you guys were just playing from the back foot every time. You heard Crimsix once again in that Astro Gaming listening. They were just going 1 by 1 every single time. And all the players from the Ravens, they knew exactly what they needed to do. You saw Alex rotating, playing really sneaky in library. Even Parasite sitting in that top window for P2. They dominated that entire P2 hill. If that's a totally different game from the Dallas Empire, if they rotate a little early, probably a little closer of a game. But wow, what a showing out of the Ravens in the first match.
Yeah, man, I mean, overall, impressive, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, Empire, despite the loss that they have versus Minnesota, they won pretty much, it was both hard points. They lose the control by 1 round, and you look at the stats there, and pretty much what I thought would happen, but in reverse. 250 to 160. Shawnee goes nearly double positive. You got a +8 from Parasite. I mean, Alex doesn't have the greatest game just in terms of stats, but we saw him being influential around the map a number of different times, but I mean, what? A majority of the time, we saw 3 different sides of rotations. It was pretty much P2 that they got every single time. And there was a lot of different situations, I feel like, where Shotzzy was trying to make a play, Huke was trying to flank, and it just never really occurred. Props to the London Royal Ravens as they get the first game on the board. We'll see what Game 2 can provide us with, whether the Empire will answer back or the Ravens find themselves up 2-0. We'll be back right after this.
Wow! Up over the top! Not a single given. London has burst into life. Johnny up top. That is a force free for him. There's number 5.
Taking you higher. Yeah, the lights getting brighter. Out of control. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go. Got something to prove.
The Ravens looking to cement themselves as the kings of Europe.
It's day 3 of Super Week, folks. Let's go and take a quick gander at our Astro Social soundboard. Powered by Astro, Florida Mutineers tweeting out, here for you at the Royal Ravens. Obviously, this was earlier today. Ravens respond back and say, I have to take the bad with the good, right? And not too bad by any means in regards to that first map study. Obviously, they had a study on hand. Very, very impressive, my good man. Very, very impressive when we talk about the way that the map that we just witnessed looked like. What we had Empire the entirety of the time. Really coming into this series, we thought, hey, this has the ability to be a stomping. And not at all the case. And obviously, as we see here, handing Empire again their first loss in Hardpoint.
Oh, man, and if you're Rambo Ray, you're sitting back in your chair like, dude, what are we doing? Like you said, you heard it throughout the entire listening. They were just single pushing every single hardpoint. They did not have a single spawn for P2. Even when they broke it towards the very end of that game, when they were down about 50 points, they let the Ravens break from the front side and eventually get the remaining 25 seconds. That was their opening back in the game. Unfortunately, Dallas did not capitalize on that moment, and they ended up dropping on that first map. Dallas needs to wake up. They are the defending champs for a reason. You saw the way that the London Royal Ravens performed yesterday. So far, this is a totally different team. They need to match their energy. So far, it's not there.
And I know this happens sometimes, but what? When we kind of discuss, teams who are kind of hot, right? Ravens obviously played yesterday. Granted, it was not a great series for them by any means, losing 3-0, but you think that map could have been rushed for the Empire, or is there maybe a little bit of a deeper problem that they're going to have to face throughout the remainder of this series?
I guess it has to be some rush. You can't really give them anything else, man. They are the defending champs for a reason. They know exactly what they need to do in every situation. Obviously, you're not going to win them all, but they should be able to fight back in this series depending on this map number 2. Like I said, if you're Rambo Ray, you're going to be in a VOD session at least for 3 hours later on.
Absolutely love it. London starting things off on offense and starting off well, not just finding the first blood, but the second. Shotzzy and iLLeY quickly left all by themselves over in back white. Shotzzy's able to find a pick. The nade is not going to make things that much easier, though. Quick little reaction. We know Shotzzy's great with those, so no harm done. It appears that the rotation actually is going to be going down over at B. It actually may turn into a flank, just given their positioning and given how they've got them locked down, but it's going to be a crossfire. It is going to be dominance early from the Ravens as Empire. No answer to start.
Oh, man. The Ravens look like a totally different beast today. Very first clean round, decided to be aggressive towards that A site. win a couple gunfights in their favor. I thought they were going to wrap that bomb towards B, but you could tell Parasite, he's feeling really confident. He makes the play call. Let's just flank him, play our numbers correctly. Good adjustments out of them to win that first round. Let's see what they're going to be able to do on this defense.
Yeah. What they're up to. Empire, he's bringing out a spread to start. They're just trying to go for the pick, it appears. Dylan, not for a moment, based on the player who looked like he was around Eskies, thought there may have been somewhat of an engagement, but you just see, just based off the map positioning, right? Just kind of pulling out the binoculars, trying to get somewhat of an idea for where the opposition sits. Dylan's ready to check wherever he needs. Shawnee, shoulder was sticking out, my friend. Alex will end up getting traded overall. Man count advantage right now to Empire as they look to take control over at A. It's going to be Dylan really in a position to maybe make the play. I know Huke probably got the audio cue there. Bomb goes down. We'll see how this retake looks for London. Nade early. The shots granted coming in from Crimsix, and the nade will finalize things. And the Empire are able to slow things down for now.
Yeah, I love that play out of the Empire. Slow and steady wins the race. You just spread map right there, making sure you're watching every single lane, making sure no one is going to be flanking, being too aggressive on the round. Once they gain all that information, a great shoulder comes out of iLLeY to open up with the first blood, eventually gets traded by Huke. Then they just retake that A bomb site. I love the patience out of Dallas right there. Great round.
Good patience, and the Ravens, just a totally different look in that hard point. I know we stay here for Moscow, and I may be digging a little bit, but do you think that just because you played on this map for hardpoint, does it kind of translate to the S&Ds from time to time, even though it's a totally different game mode?
Absolutely not. The S&D is a completely different game mode. Hardpoint is so fast. So
all right, Study, I was digging a little bit too far then, so you're telling me.
Yeah. It's totally different. You got to slow the game down here.
You know, the environment, there is... Okay, I guess I'm digging a little bit too much. Crim able to drop the first one on his Shawnee. Little does he know, the entire team is just toward his right. The Ravens flying high, and the GOAT quickly has to make a play, and at least for now is able to do so. Surely the communication is going to come out from Empire of where these players are positioned. Really between a rock and a hard place. The nades nearly everywhere. Alex tries to lay down some crossfire, but Crimsix from the flank finds one, finds two. Can he find the third on to Alex? One bullet away. 3 versus 1, and he's going to drop from the bottom of the bus. Empire well managed, and overall, it's Crimsix making the play.
C6, no hesitation. He rotates early. He knows that there was no sounds, nothing going on at that A bomb site. Rotates back, finds the player off the street, then eventually gets out with his life, even though all 3 of the Roy Ravens players are trying to push him out at that street. Slides through that bomb site, no hesitation once again. 2-piece. That's why he's basically like the 45,000 champion in the world, most Call of Duty winner of all time.
What, like, $1 million in console earnings? Pretty good.
Unbelievable.
Pretty good. Pretty solid if you ask me. Great leader, obviously, for this Empire team, and a very hungry team, despite the championship. I know Crims had a few comments about it and whatnot, but try to see what this team can do. Really a roster full of grinders. I know Merck's talked about them a lot in terms of like 2v2, 3v3s. They just want to keep playing COD all the time, especially the man with the bomb in his hands, iLLeY. Basically said since he was young, always wanted to be a COD pro, known for such a long time, and pretty much fires away a few shots at one of the oldest veterans in the game, Parasite.
Yeah.
But early on, offense somewhat slow to start. Shawnee's able to at least cut things off for the moment, and there very well could be a bomb site rotation over at B. They make some noise, but there's going to be somebody here. It is Dylan. COD, early shots on the iLLeY. Bomb's going to be down. Empire severely damaged after that loss. 23 seconds left, and the Empire have to make a play. Dylan yet again coming through the window, able to silence Shotzzy. Now it's all going to be on to Huke. He falls as well. Great awareness coming out of the Ravens.
Yeah, phenomenal play out of Dylan right there. He knew he was the only player at this B bomb site. Plays an angle to where he was able to get one, get out with his life, and eventually get the 2-piece. But job well done, man. His teammates have full control of that A site. Communication definitely comes in, rotates back. Great timing out of him to win that round for his roster. But so far, the way that the Dallas Empire have been playing their offense, they are just spreading map, making sure nothing hectic is going on. And then eventually they like to push a bomb really late into the round. And so far it's costed them, at least in the second round of that offense. Hopefully they're able to be a little bit more aggressive next offense.
With that pace begins to increase. And speaking of pace, Dylan just wants to go and get rid of the trophies, and that's going to unfortunately end his life for the time. That's actually going to be 3 down off the start. Parasite, the last man alive, and he gets sandwiched. A fast round here, and as you called it, the pace kind of needs to be stepped up. It wasn't necessarily the Dallas Empire who started off, but they are happy to run with the Ravens from time to time.
Yeah, man, I can't even imagine turning this corner right here and running into Shotzzy and Huke. One on a head glitch, one running straight at you from the dark alley. It's an impossible task to do. You saw the way that they just dominated that round. Like I said, they're going to be on offense once again. Huke, 5-2, definitely stepping up when he needs to the most. Being down 0-1 in this series is not what a lot of people expected, especially being the Dallas Empire, the defending champs. It's looking like they're going to switch up their play. They're going to be aggressive towards A, exactly what I need them to do. And unfortunately, Alex is going to open up with a first blood.
I think Shotzzy is actually having a problem trying to get up on that hop-up. That'll be the Ravens who take advantage of it. They'll drop 3 to start as the other one comes on in. Crimsix, to the lobby we go, and the fast rounds only continue 3-3. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know sometimes you can have a little bit of an issue like getting on that little hop-up over near Grave, and I wonder if Shotzzy was dealing with that, or what really the case was. It looked like he was trying to jump up and ended up kind of getting, I don't want to say stuck in the corner by any means, but maybe having a few issues, and overall, whatever it was, it cost him.
Yeah, it definitely does there. The Ravens read that beautifully. Parasite whipped out that sub, pulls it out, and goes towards that back alley. Just be's aggressive on that backside. Just able to catch Dallas Empire for trying to switch up their pace. I thought a nade just stuck him in the back of the head, but that's not the case. iLLeY currently 1-5, but here comes Huke, opening up for the first blood. aBeZy's going to drop as well. Now here comes Alex with the trade on the Huke. Now they have full A-bomb control, but Crimsix able to take down one and force it to a 2v2.
Versus 2, Shotzzy and Crim still hanging out. Crim able to get some shots in, able to drop Parasite. Also is able to sneak away. Probably the more impressive of the two is just the movement to be able to get out. Trying to pressure over at Eski. Shotzzy to be the first one to challenge, and Crim is going to be here. A great collective push, really just to make sure that Dylan doesn't have an opportunity to make a play. The nade able to distance him out as Crim will punch in the digits. And again, man, it's these fast rounds. What we saw the other day, Atlanta FaZe, they were talking about how they got punched in the face on raid. And this very well could be the same kind of strategy for the Ravens, trying to make Empire somewhat uncomfortable. Obviously, in that particular round, it does not work out. But like I said, these fast A hits, I don't, at least from a forecasting perspective, I don't know if we'll see these end anytime soon.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping it does hoping it does, man, because so far they have getting shut down every single time they have tried to go towards A, at least aggressively. The one time they did it was the very first round of their offense, where they just slow played it and eventually worked up. It's just looking like London Royal Ravens, they're just trying to take control of that A side every single time, but it's a totally change of pace. Shotzzy read it perfectly. Good first blood onto Dylan. Huke trying to find Parasite, able to take him down as well. Now they know where Shawnee is. Going to be on the statue. 3v2 for the Dallas Empire. It's looking like they're going to try to wrap this bomb back over towards that A site.
Bomb on the back of iLLeY. Trying to make sure everything is in fact clear. Again, after the pretty quick team fight, we're going to have a good understanding at least of where the prior positions were. So bomb down. Johnny goes for the pick, but it's actually Alex who's going to follow him up. And I'm not sure if they actually are aware of Alex's positioning. Regardless, he'll have to back up and really just reference back, get a new line side of things. 28 seconds left. Again, an overall 2 versus 2. It will be the Ravens trying to go ahead and push on into white. Given the spots, Shotzzy could definitely cause some problems. Are they going to be aware of it? His foot actually does poke out. He finds a kill regardless, and from Eskies we go. Empire, slow and steady, wins the race. Now up 5-3.
Hey, man, that 5 spread is working. So far, it was going to eventually work in their favor. They were able to catch the Ravens, trying to hit a late flank around that deep street area. Ravens just got completely blind counted there. Now the Dallas Empire are 1 round away from closing out this map number 2 and tying up the series 1-1. They're going to find themselves on defense, where they have just been completely taking over this A site every single round. Even though we have iLLeY sitting at 1-7, the combination between Huke, Shotzzy, and Crimsix, they are just completely dominating this map right now.
You can see the impact that Shotzzy's having. 7-4, had a .38 in the S&D losses. continuing to be influential, now at 8-4. Forspree in general, and Parasite's going to be able to get the better of him. Blows Shotzy's head off, really, for the most part, but iLLeY hanging out in Eskies gets the great timing, and will end up falling as a result. 2 versus 2. Life on the line for Ravens. A much-needed search and destroy victory. Again, we talked about, you know, at times in S&D have fallen a little short. Get the game 1 victory, and this would be the icing on the cake. If they could just keep this search and destroy afloat and find that 2-0 lead, it would mean everything for them based on their group positioning. But big plays needed. And of guys who have done it before. Huke last alive.
I was going to think that Crimsix had a thought that the bomb would be down on that body, but he doesn't check it. Now both players are going to rotate this towards B, but here comes Huke, able to take down one now. So 1v1, he's going to jump in the window, and just like that, big 1v1 out of Huke right there to close out that map number 2.
Woo! Let's watch this one again. Huke makes the play. He has been the guy for them to start off this season. Takes down Shawnee and gets face-to-face with Alex. Says, nope, this one is done. This one is over, and we are happy to fire back. And that is a much-needed round for the Empire to now bring us to a 1-1 scoreline. I mean, what? Overall, great search and destroy. You know, obviously a few moments to kind of pick out for the Ravens in terms of, you know, just the way the offense is played out, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But really, I think it was a good performance, but obviously a much-needed one for Dallas to get a hold of. I know iLLeY doesn't have the greatest game in the world from a stats perspective, but what, guys like Huke, I think, what, Shotzzy may have finished with like 9 or 10. And again, he was the guy who was kind of having those lackluster performances in their search and destroy losses versus the Røkkr. So he obviously performs well, the MVP from last season, and you're obviously going to see some results. But Piers London, we go for a little bit of a bathroom break, and that's fine with us. We're going to take a look at the stats, and with those final 2 coming in, the 1 versus 2 for Huke, he'll finish off with 10-5. Shotzzy as well, 8-5. Crim, 7-5. And again, a well-collective effort coming in from the Empire, as now we've got ourselves a game. No 3-0 today, my friend.
And that's exactly what you want if you are the Empire. An answer back after such a terrible played first map. You went into that search and destroy. The 4-man spread works perfectly. Eventually, it works out in your favor. They were able to catch the players from the Ravens, trying to hit that late flank onto the street, puts them up 5-3. And then right there, Huke the Nuke. The guy is it for a reason, man. He's leading an unbelievable stat throughout the entire year so far, and it's just showing why he's just that kind of guy. 1v2 through the window, boom, boom, beats him down. Easy work for the kid.
Definitely, my friend. What, Huke the Nuke, Huke Skywalker, lots of nicknames for that guy, and also happens to be our U.S. Army tactical players. We're going to take a look again at that wonderful clutch that he's able to come away with. Again, we're talking Ravens, we're talking rotations, how great of a position this really is for them. But Crim obviously ends up getting picked off, and it really all falls on to Kyler, guy who, didn't really have a whole lot of the spotlight last season, but ends up making the biggest of plays. And obviously, Crim's going to give him the call out, and it's really just all about skill and reaction from here, Study.
Yeah, he was able to just no hesitation, hit down those Eskies, kill Shawnee in the back, jump through the window, hit that one bullet that he needs for that shot puts to eventually close out that kill there. And that's why he's just an unbelievable player. He plays at an unbelievable pace with that SMG. Good 1v1. We have a series on our hand, Lando.
Yeah, man. I know Hastro smiling after that highlight. Always, Huke's been the guy for obviously this team, for this organization for such a long time, and just continues to make the plays for Dallas Empire. Folks, it's 1-1. No 3-0s at least to start the day. We've got control up next. Stay with us.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by GameFuel. Use code CDL2021 for a special discount on GameFuel.com. Tournament audio and team listen-ins are powered by Astro Gaming, the official headset and mix amp of the Call of Duty League.
Dallas Empire have smashed the gates open. Oh no, Huke is in your base. Oh, it's a shot punch. Oh no! Once again, they saved the day.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is CDL Super Week, day number 3. We are in our first match of the day. Dallas Empire versus London Royal Ravens. It's been a good one up to this point. London taking the game 1 hard point, but Dallas responded the S&D. And Study, this was really a big highlight for us coming into the series. We thought this would maybe even be flip-flopped a little bit just based off of what Empire's recent Search and Destroy performance. We thought Empire would surely take the respawn. Then we're looking at S&D. Maybe that could be the opportunity for London to kind of fire back and bring themselves into it, but not at all the same. Huke comes through big and ends up saving the day for Dallas, just to make sure that this one is going to be in their hands. So we'll take a look at the overall KDs and Search and Destroy for Dallas really throughout the season. Crimsix really leading the way at opening weekend, but it was Huke overall taking the crown, no pun intended, and the Search and Destroy here today, again, as the most influential play of the round with that major 1v2. And again, like this guy Huke, I mean, up to this point, looks like without a doubt one of the best players in the CDL. And that's just, again, one of the many scary parts for this Dallas lineup. You got the GOAT, right? You've got some unbelievably talented young players. We saw what Shotzzy was able to do last season. Now that Huke is erupting the way that he is, all good signs for Dallas outside of that game 1 hard point.
Yeah, and if you're in that S&D, you're looking both. Not only at Huke, you're looking at Shotzzy as well. We saw Shotzzy last week versus Minnesota. He did not have a good performance in that game mode. Just the duo between those two guys, a 2.0 and a 1.6. That's 2 SMG players who are just rushing at you every time you try to hit that A bomb site, and they are winning a majority of those gunfights. Huge step-ups on that map number 2. Hopefully they can carry that on this map number 3.
Yeah, what they'll be looking to do. Again, we talk about control when it comes down to both of these teams. Ravens, not a good performance in control. I want to say it was JP, obviously stats analyst, or they're really just analysts for the New York Subliners. Tweeted out like a stat basically saying that yesterday's control versus NYSL and the Ravens, obviously Ravens losing that one 3-0, one of the fastest controls in history. So
I believe it.
Put in perspective, Ravens obviously look different today, but again, when we talk about hardpoint, Search and Destroy, obviously now in control, they still have to kind of show us something. When we talk about Game 3, domination last year, control now, it is the swing mode and a much needed one for Ravens to make sure that their fire isn't out just yet.
Yeah, and the Ravens need to do so, especially in control. Yesterday on that map, they were getting spawn killed on defense and offense, and that's just something you don't really expect on a map like Checkmate that they were playing yesterday, even with these pro teams that they are. You don't expect teams to get spawn trapped as much as they did yesterday, so hopefully they're able to step it up today on a different map like Garrison. You're going to see Crimsix nice and early, just holding on this top green control, staying around bridge. Here comes Dylan fighting for that with a big 2-piece. Great team shots from him and Parasite. This gives the opening onto A to eventually stop this clock. But he's looking like he's just going to decide to stay around this green area and hold this positioning.
And really, when you're facing off against the Empire, you just have to be aware of those pesky SMGs, right? Shotzzy and Huke always trying to be up in your face. That actually slows the push over at green. And speaking of Huke, really just wants to appear on the flank. 3-0 start for him as Dylan hopefully tries to clear out green, but that's where Crim is happy to stand firm. With 28 seconds left, the Ravens are finally able to get on a point and see if they can actually make something of it. Doesn't matter if you don't get the ticks, and Parasite really the only player on the point, needs some teammate support as it's all Empire. Really trying to rain in through green, and we're at the defensive side. That's where you'd like to be. That's where you feel good. Huke again on the flank. That's going to be 2. Does not find the 3rd. Ravens able to get 1 tick in, but with 20 seconds left, it's going to need to be a full team wipe of the Empire. And again, those pesky SMGs trying to be a problem, hanging out toward the back lines as Shotzzy finds the first. Moves from the skies. He actually ends up getting taken down. Now it's up to iLLeY, a possible 2. That's actually going to be most of the players falling off the point. Just Dylan, last alive, trying to hang on. He also gets taken down. Ravens trying to hang out in their spawns just to conserve lives for as long as they can. And a dominant performance early coming through from Dallas.
And that's the Empire that we all know. Aggression, aggression, aggression. You saw how aggressive they were towards that top green. Crimsix was never in a fight by himself, always had his teammate. They exactly know what they need to do. Holding that position is basically everything on this map. A phenomenal first defense. Leading behind Shotzzy. Currently 7-3 on a 4 spree. Working on some streaks. It could be useful, especially if you're trying to work towards that A capture. If you get that B capture nice and early.
Good start early for Dallas. I'm actually curious what the comms are sounding like. Actually, for the Ravens, given that that last round, excited to see maybe if they can rebound. Let's go to an Astro Gaming listening with the Ravens.
Top green and people take it.
I'm wrapping green.
Top green. Once the top green.
You don't want to tank?
Yeah, we'll just hit dark.
We cannot go.
Hit dark, you said? That one's
Dead dark, dead dark.
I heard you.
That's a plot.
I'm with aLLeY. I'll have your factory cross now. Have your right factory.
Back left, you just dropped.
You can wrap it right. I right.
aLLeY weak.
One's on you. Weak. What's up behind you?
No, he hit me. He's going dark.
People. Two on me here.
Dark, Chris.
I know. Mid, one shot, one back to the
Coming out, aLLeY to it.
I'm him Venom.
Two dark already.
Give me one sec.
Yo, they have a trophy outside of L.
I'm going to take it on win. They're not going to get I'm going to push up now.
Shotzzy.
Two there, no, top before tank. Top before dead. I'm waiting on one shot though, they keep pushing me out.
I don't see anything mid.
Flash it.
Oh, he pushed it late, I didn't help him, close right.
Yo, L, needed it.
In hell, Huke.
I needed it.
Buddy, give me your opinion, my friend. We got to listen in with the Ravens yesterday. Difference between yesterday and today.
They seem a lot more locked in, a lot more focused. The comms are not flustered like they were yesterday. They're feeling a lot more confident on the map. You could just tell, even though they gave up that B point nice and early, it's all going to come down to just trying to hold this A point. Holding this first area, holding your back spawn, and that's what they're doing. They're going to be able to drop 2 players from the Empire right now. iLLeY trying to work up middle, but Alex again, the big kill onto him. Able to just play his life around this first area. Just stalling time, just completely eliminating the waves that Empire is trying to set up to work around this backside.
And really, when it comes down to this point, right, green is kind of the choke point. Other than that, you've got to make your way through mid. It's all about that mid control and really kind of based off of real estate right now. You like the position that the Ravens are in. It's an awkward spot for Shotzzy as he's not really able to make much happen. Huke does find a pick, and that could start to clear things up. iLLeY is well able to drop Shawnee. So 2 down for the Ravens. They're going to be off of spawn. Parasite and Dylan, though, a lot to do, a lot to handle. A little bit of team shots actually coming in from the back end. Huke v. Dylan, and Alex is there to save the day. A good start from the Ravens. 30 seconds left for the Empire as they have to get a touch on here soon. Shotzzy not able to see Dylan. Pretty much just hanging out. Trying to stay as careful as he can. Really trying to stay behind as much cover as possible. And Alex going to continue with that 4 spree. 13 seconds and Empire in the back of the base. This one surely is London.
Great round out of London. So far, their defensive setup, they did not hesitate. They did not panic in the situation, even though they let a couple players from the Empire sneak into bricks. Shawnee was all the way posted up in that back tank outside of lights, just watching the entire middle map. A huge gunfights on Parasite and Dylan when they were on that point to shut down that push from the Dallas Empire. Now all it is, they just have to show some life into this offensive round. They have to fight for top green a little better, but you want to work for that B point nice and early. You don't want to just not get either one of the points, just get spawn trapped in the base, because even if it goes towards 5-5, kills do matter to who's going to have that last defensive round.
Yeah, man, definitely does. I got to say, impressed from the Ravens. Like, they showed us that in hard point. Obviously, search and destroy. They don't win it, but they obviously do win a few more rounds. Definitely life is within the Ravens now. Locking up another control round and see what they have up their sleeves. Yeah, not the greatest start from Alex. Maybe giving a nice apology to Parasite. But regardless of the start, Ravens definitely looking different. As we'll see what the Empire now have in this next defense. It's really been all defense up to this point, and really can be a lot of the time on Garrison, especially in S&D and control. And really, again, we talk about that mid-map presence. That's exactly what the Empire are aspiring to have. Well, then yet to get any time, trying to siphon a few players in through 10. But you've got Crim locked up watching that back artillery side, you've got players in a number of different positions. You've actually allowed them to kind of set up because of how slow this push is. Alex pokes out. He's got 3 players instantly taking a look at him. Johnny finds a pick, but that's really about all that they are going to have outside of the late nade. And Huke's going to try to make him pay for it, instantly going toward the spawn. That's going to be 4 in a row, make it 5 in a row. Huke the Nuke continuing to be influential, trying to cause some problems in that Ravens camp. They've got 15 seconds left and not a whole lot of time to really make anything happen. Huke still roaming, Huke still slaying, Shotzzy as well. The SMGs are starting to get confident, and the Ravens are not going to be able to get to the point in time as this one surely should be up unless somebody can hop in last second. 0.2. They're hanging on. They are hanging on just by a thread, and nobody can afford to get off that point now.
If you're the Dallas Empire, you're just throwing lives. All you have is 0.2 seconds. You don't want to fully let them have this B point and give them an entire extra minute, but it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. They do have the live advantage. They're up by 4 currently. But I just feel like the Dallas Empire could have definitely closed out this round a lot sooner. They had no ticks at P. They decided not to be aggressive on it. Alex in the lights won a big gunfight onto Shotzzy. Now you're going to see 2 players pushing out the back spawn, trying to play for a couple spawn kills. aBeZy with the big kill onto Parasite. So while these guys are trying to get these kills on this side, you're going to see the Empire players pushed up on the opposite side, spawn killing their teammates. But the Empire are going to win every single one of those gunfights and force all of London to spawn back B3 now.
Yeah, that's just great awareness from the ARs, right? They realize that, you know, due to the early pushes coming in from Ravens, those guys sitting in green, they just happen to go over at Railway and just take them down when needed. In live situation, not looking great for the Ravens. 16-9. Now make it 15-8 as just a few flurries of kills begin to come through. But Dylan, the farthest pushed up player, 3 seconds left. And I made a little bit of an early call last time, but there is officially no way for the Ravens to be able to get onto that last point. Empire, you know what, for that moment, it looked like they should have held on to that first one over at Walkway, but just a few good sequences come in from London, and they extend the game by a decent margin.
Well, yeah, if you're the Dallas Empire, at least you win the round. You would have liked to close it out a lot better in that round, so you can have a more kill advantage going into, just in case it goes to a round number 5. But if you are the London Royal Ravens, your offense needs to be a lot faster. We saw Alex, he was posted up in that dark right alley the entire time with 3 players pushing out of tools. They were just wasting so much time. Dallas Empire was already fully set up. Once they shut them down once, they were just going to put them once again in a spawn trap. So it's all going to come out the break. You need to have a better break off and not give all the kills to the Empire right off the rip so they can get fully set up.
And also, don't team nade either. That doesn't typically work out too well. But speaking of good starts, Empire are only going to continue with it as 3 instantly fall in the feed. And Shotzzy, within the blink of an eye, hops on into their base. And this could be where things start to get scary as long as he can stay alive. Does drop, but the progress, without a doubt, is already made at B. Somewhat of a stop made over at that radar truck. But still 2 ticks in already. They've got at least 2 players on the point. London, they are actually going to try and contest this. What Parasite's going to try to pop up in on the flank. Shotzzy continuing to make life difficult through the mid-map. 17-11 for him. Parasite was able to drop 1, but that's really just about it. And Huke's trying to get all crazy like over inside of bricks. Again, these SMGs, they like to fly for Dallas.
And that was 3 down. 3 down for the Royal Ravens. You're going to see Dallas Empire just rush out of top green and try to take control of this point. Huke's going to sit in bricks, able to pick up a kill onto Parasite. Only player able to try to contest at this situation is going to be Shawnee, but Shawnee's going to be playing the spawn kills, hoping that his teammates are able to win a couple gunfights by themselves. Able to take down Huke. iLLeY trying to do everything he can with a big 2-piece from this back tank area. Here comes Parasite. Will he get him? No, he's going to get dropped. But here comes his teammate for the trade. Ticks is still going down for the Dallas Empire. Huke's going to be able to win a gunfight onto Shawnee, and this is the best case scenario. Dallas might be able to close it out here.
Good opportunity for Dallas, halfway there, trying to get everybody to rush on through green. It's open. Can London make the break? Can they at least hold on for now? And so far, it's looking good. 3 pop up in the feed. Shotzzy, last one alive. He and Alex can be able to finish this one off. So despite the 5 streak, Dallas, they do get some good control. But hey, take a look at the clock, right? 1:30. They are up in the live situation as well. And really, every time off of spawn, despite Dallas dropping inside of A, or despite them making some progress, they are instantly firing through that middle side of the map, which is just giving them so many different opportunities. London, they've got to slow this one down fast because there's only one more tick needed before this one is locked up. And here comes the push from Dallas again. A few trying to make their way through the flank. And with Shotzzy following, they may just try to halt for now. Make sure that everybody is clear. Again, this guy Huke made a major play. And that search and destroy very well could open up things. 48 seconds, still some opportunities here for Dallas, but London holding well up to this point.
So far, the Ravens, the same exact setup that they had on their very first defense, exactly what they're going to. You're going to see Shawnee once again on that back right tank, just watching the complete middle, watching that bricks cross. Parasite Alex are going to be working on this site. 3 go down once again for the Empire, going one by one by one. It's not going to work. I know Rambo Ray, he's literally probably sitting there in his chair with his toes curled. Can't even believe the plays that are going out right now from his roster. But so far, the Ravens are holding this beautifully, and we might be able to push it to a round number 5.
Give me a visual I never thought I'd have, Study, but hey, 8 seconds left. Dallas Empire trying to make some work through the middle side of the map, and a player for it, last one that was really close to the point, they're not going to be able to do a thing. And the Ravens will send us to a round 5. Again, showing us, at least in the respawns, they are a team to play. One of the fastest controls that we've ever seen because of NYSL's dominance versus London yesterday. And now, again, go to round 5 versus the defending champions just the next day. Roster just seems to be firing on all cylinders, Study.
Yeah, they come out to play today, man. They're trying to make an answer, not trying to drop to 0-3 in the beginning of the season. But unfortunately, they did not get a lot of kills on the map, so that's going to give Empire, once again, defense going on this round number 5. And we saw the way that they've played. Hopefully, the Ravens have a different break-off. No team nade out of Alex. A couple kills should go in their favor. Wouldn't put them in a trap so fast. But you just see, right off the rip, Dallas Empire sending 2 players towards green. 2 kills are going to go for the Ravens. This is a phenomenal break-off right off the rip. But as I say that, 2 go down.
Down indeed. Really tries to silence things for the moment, but and just kind of trying to hang out in lights. Thankfully, if you are a Dallas Empire fan, Huke's going to be able to clear out points. So unless anybody can really get onto that progress, or the progression that's already been made at B, it's going to be all for naught. Minute on the clock. Really the biggest of situations for Ravens. Again, you keep this momentum going, keep that map 1 heading into this next respawn, or this could be the Empire showing us that it was just a slow start. That's all it was. Shotzzy on the flank finds 2. Shotzzy finds 3. A huge play coming in from the Astro MVP of last season. It was Huke in the S&D, and it's Shotzzy here in the control. And now Huke as well, trying to cause some problems up close. London now struggling to get out of their base, and Shotzi's not planning on slowing down. Goes over the side of the ramp, and he has taken everybody down, even from range. That 74U looks more and more like a Craig, I swear, in his hands. Unbelievable plays coming in from Shotzzy. 31 and 19. The live situation starting to get dire. That 7 nearly finds the 8th. And it's going to be Huke, possibly for the return. That dynamic duo is going to seal the deal. Huke's going to end things out on a nice little streak toward the back alley. And as the explosions come in, that is going to be the Empire getting some wonderful signs of life as we get to thankfully get to watch this play yet again from Shotzzy. The movement, the shot on point, nothing but impressive stuff coming from the MVP.
Oh man, and the Empire have finally woken up. You could just tell everything is starting to click for these guys. Even though that went all the way to around round 5 in that control. They didn't win either one of their offenses, so they're going to go back and watch that, but their defenses were flawless. They basically didn't give up any single points, any map position the entire time to the Ravens, and it was all behind Shotzzy and Huke, being so aggressive on the map, setting up your ARs, fighting for top 3, and that's exactly what Crimsix and iLLeY were doing the entire time. But if you're the Ravens, this is where it gets scary, because the Empire is shooting like that now. Going into this map number 4, you need to be on point.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we kind of talked about coming into this control, right? Was to be aware of the SMGs, the way that they can really kind of take over games in the mid-map, and that's exactly what Shotzzy and Huke do here. Of course, it's Shotzzy having the overall better performance, plus 12. Huke ends up coming in at +7. Well, Ravens, obviously not a bad showing. Like, I mean, they are clearly improved from yesterday. There's no doubt about it. Just based off of our first 3 games, they are competitive. But again, it is just kind of having those players that can, I know we keep saying the word spark, but just give it to you. And that's exactly what Shotzzy and Huke were able to do there. I know we're going to see that clip on Twitter probably for days, if not weeks to come. Impressive stuff from the Empire. Again, have the ability to lock up this series. Or can we see London force it to a Game 5? We'll be back with Game 4 Hardpoint right after this.
What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? What you doing when the money calls? Gotta get it now, ain't no time to stall. Tell them I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball? I gotta get to the cream, I've been the cream of the crop. I gotta get to the green, already been in the top. Shawty was super show, man, talking the game to fly. I want everything, yeah, I want it all. What's the point of grinding if you ain't gon' ball?
Folks, how the heck are you? It's been a great day so far for CDL Sunday, day number 3. We've got the Ravens, we've got the Empire headed to Game 4 on some Garrison Hardpoint. Leno and Study guiding you through the action, at least through our first series today. And it has been an interesting one, right? We thought this one probably had a very good chance of going the opposite direction in terms of just a dominant performance from Dallas. But it has been the Ravens surprising us a little bit as we're going to take a look at some Hardpoint Garrison stats so far throughout the season. Obviously, Huke and Shotzzy, the two guys who kind of led the way throughout that control. Guys to look out for. And it's the ARs having somewhat of a presence. Parasite? Great. But Shawnee, 1.43. Shawnee's kind of been that guy for them in Hardpoint, especially in that first one over on Moscow. Now we see ourselves in another Hardpoint. Study? Ravens' opportunity to hopefully kind of just to get rid of what has been this fantastic eruption, really, from the Empire, especially because of that Shotzzy play to kind of end things out. I know you mentioned it, that Huke has kind of woken up the Empire. Shotzzy's woken up the Empire. And now I'm curious to see how this Garrison Hardpoint goes.
Well, if it's going to go anything like the way that the London Warrior Ravens decided to play it yesterday, I'm expecting Dallas Empire to just completely dominate this map. The SMGs from the Empire are warmed up. You saw what Shotzzy and Huke did the last couple of maps. We saw what Dylan did, 14 and 30 on that previous control. He needs to step up on this map. Yesterday they played this map and the entire team was negative besides Shawnee. So I'm looking at Dylan and Alex to really be an impact on this map for them to force it to a Game 5.
In the SMGs, they have to be met, and obviously fair that we at least take a look through beginning phases of Shotzzy, as he will get taken down in green to start. And we're going to be saying green a lot, top green especially, of course, through a majority of this Hardpoint match, because that is the position that you want to hold pretty much every single hill if you have the opportunity to get it. And it looks like as if off the start, London with the preferred spawns, trying to make sure that they do hold on to that green room, as Huke instantly tries to fire away. Nothing doing. Empire with some good points early.
Yeah, so far, it's just a scrappy hill. Empire are able to get a lot of time on this P1 hard point. But the entire time, the London Royal Ravens do have the favorable spawns going into that P2. You're going to see that number 7 player in Shawnee rotating nice and early. Thankfully, none of the Dallas Empire players are going to be in top green to beat them off the rotation. It's looking like they're going to try to flood through bricks and through middle. But it's going to force the players from the Ravens to spawn out towards that back P3. And this could be the opening that the Dallas Empire need.
You see, they actually have to hop out of the hard point. Shawnee has to leave the HP to try to mitigate what is this flank coming through from iLLeY as well as Shotzzy. Able to drop one, and just like that, that is the spawn flip coming in from the Empire. Again, we were giving a lot of props to the Ravens, saying, hey, they're rotating early, but again, they find a few kills off of the backside. The flank is incredibly successful. Shawnee didn't really have a chance to hop on the hill at all. Nice early advantage for the Empire, and again, that aggression, when we talk about those SMGs, is clearly working out. Shotzzy at 3-3, but really actually the ARs in general, really Crim having some big moments to start things off. Huke at 7-2, continuing to erupt in a 52-8 current advantage for the for the Empire. Ravens hoping to rebound now over at this next one, but see Shotzzy, if you see actually the SMGs of the Empire already in the spawns.
Yeah, they're pushing it out in the back. Great plays from Dylan and Parasite to hold off the spawns for that back P3. There were 2 players from the Ravens who spawned out, were able to pick up a couple kills and shooting a couple Empire players in the back. But now they do have the spawns for P3. They should be able to fight back in with a great hold. Crimsix trying to do everything he can through middle map. Going through that tools area, he's going to get dropped by Dylan, but Crimsix trying to do everything he can. He's going to eventually drop, and that's going to shut down the push from the Empire. Now they all have to do is just flood through front yard. Dallas, fortunately, are going to have to decide to try to rotate here, not even commit to this, and just force the London Royal Ravens players to continue to spawn back towards P3.
We see it at times, right, as Dylan's able to walk away with his 6th in a row, getting some tags actually from the back, so they are actually going to be able to flip this. So Dallas now spawning in gens, and this could be somewhat of a good situation for the Ravens. We've seen a lot of teams kind of handle these spawns, and instantly Shawnee wants to try to get toward that top floating position, actually ends up losing it, so the Empire will gain a little bit more real estate when we talk about the middle side of the map. Still, a good opportunity for the Ravens to try to make something happen. Again, it's the Empire who come away early with those quick and fast engagements. They break the setup. One thing they don't have is that top green, which Huke is hoping to try and change up. The trade is in London. They have green, but they don't have the hill just yet.
Yeah, you're going to see Dallas Empire trying to do everything they can to just get this hill time and not try to fight for green as much. You're going to see Parasite going to drop on the hill. Unfortunately, he's going to get taken down by Crimsix. No time is going in favor of either of the rosters. It's looking like Dallas is going to decide to slide in now. Try to pick this remaining time on this hard point. Alex with a big 3-piece off the rotation, sitting at that dark area, forcing all the players from Dallas Empire to spawn back left behind floating tank. Alex currently on a 5 spree, really stepping up when his team needs him the most. So far, London, they have just been holding really well. Do they know that the Dallas Empire players are going to be spawning back P5 though?
You see Parasite and Dylan instantly kind of turning their focus away. They know they've got their teammates pretty much watching both sides, so somewhat of a split position. Really just kind of take a look at the mini-map. So now on the other side. So it was a temporary flip for the time. Empire now on the opposite side. And Ravens will work with at least a hill closer to them. Again, when it comes down to P4, P5, a lot of different opportunities to try to set up some spawn traps. You can kind of argue which side is more favored, but obviously London making it look good up to this point as they look to try to regain the advantage. Dylan, meanwhile, gets cut down inside of green, and really based off of that push, it is going to be the Empire now regaining control. London, a matter of time before the break, possibly comes on through. Down to the observers, showing us a few of those streaks. Dylan with one, rearing and ready to go. That one could easily save the day for them as we look to reset and rotate back to P1.
And the only play I'm looking at right now is going to be Shawnee. He's rotating nice and early, trying to flip those spawns, holding this green position the entire time. all the Dallas Empire players are trying to push through lights. You're going to see Crimsix jump up from rails, able to take down Parasite. Huke with a big gunfight onto Dylan. And ShawNy eventually is going to get taken out of top green. Now, this is going to definitely set back the London Royal Ravens a little bit. They have to fight for this hill and also fight for map control and rotation for the next one. So far, Dallas Empire doing a great hold on the second rotation.
Again, it's a lot of this mid-map presence from the SMGs. London, at times, looking good. Right, Alex? We talked about him going on a streak. Dylan as well. Having a few good moments here and there, but they don't kind of maintain that mid-map control. That's what caused them so many problems in that game 3. Again, 120 to 82. Shotzzy with a nice angle hanging out here over at Vince. He actually will get dropped, and a major 1v1 for the hill goes down, and iLLeY is able to win it, and that is the definition of 4v4 COD, right? It really makes these certain gun engagements that much more interesting, that much more influential. iLLeY's able to win it, and now the team's got the time, but actually gonna go ahead and take a quick step outside as the streak reigns in. All good from the Empire's perspective, but based off the presence coming in from green, Huke, they're gonna line up. And a wonderful setup for the Empire as now they are primed and ready to grab these remaining 30 seconds.
And that is a perfect case scenario for the Empire right there. They forced the London Royal Ravens to use one of their score streaks, try to break through top green. iLLeY with a great heads-up play. This is why he's a pro player and I'm no longer am. But he just jumped out of that map, dodges the artillery completely, and was able to gut back in the hill. Eventually picked up 2 kills. Puts themselves at a 70-point advantage right now. Even though they do not have spawns for P3, this is where the Ravens were able to fight back off the first rotation. They're being a lot more aggressive on the map. You can just tell the guns are starting to get more hot. And so far, they're filling themselves with the 6th lead right now.
And this very well could kind of define really the rest of the series. London, an opportunity to get back. Empire, a chance to kind of put the nail in the coffin, if you will. Who tries to make something work, and that's really just going to be Empire. Yeah, they all fall. So that's a clean 4 sweep. Good signs early from the Ravens as Dylan will look to try to grab nice position over a top caution. And how about that shot from iLLeY? At least from our perspective, I'd be pretty ticked off if I was in league play and saw that. But nice shots covered on in. Shotzzy tries to make his way to the side. iLLeY as well. And the defense only continues to reign through. Huke, what, a nice opportunity there on the flank, but nothing doing. Ravens, they brought themselves back in the game.
Yeah, so far, their P3 holds have been perfect. They basically gotten a full 60 on it twice. So now it's all about, are they going to be able to flip Dallas Empire once again and force them on that back P3 generator side? It's looking like the Empire are playing this nice and slow this time. Not trying to give up any spawns, not trying to let them back in this game. 3 are going to go down for the Ravens, and the Empire are fully set up.
Empire are indeed. We saw it kind of flip last time around. Empire were able to break in. They're at the bottom floating. Your eyes on Huke. Really, the guy has a lot of different perspectives to look at. A lot of information going on in the comms. Hanging on to that 4 streak in general as a team. What, it's going to be 8 for the Empire. Really, as you called, Study, trying to keep them toward this back gen side. And so far, it is working out quite nicely for the defending champions. iLLeY sitting firmly on that throne, ring in hand, as that's going to be what? Alex, who tries to falter in. He ends up getting taken down as well, and pretty much a clean hill from beginning to end for Dallas. As they're going to try to keep, really what, the neck on the back? Rather try to keep the knee on the back of the neck at the moment, and Ravens will see if they can start to break out. A good sequence is finally 2 end up going their way. Alex with the opportunity for a break. He'll find 1 over in green. He and Dylan could be, but somewhat of the keys trying to regain that map control once again that we've been talking about really since the beginning of this map.
Yeah, and you see Alex in that top green area just trying to hold this down. 3 are going to go down for the Empire. No time is going in favor of either team. Shotzzy was able to get 1, but he gets taken down by ShawNy. So now the Ravens should be able to put some time back on the clock. Only being down 50 points. They hold the remaining of this. They're going to force the Dallas Empire to continue to spawn towards that back tank. They can definitely fight back in this game. They just continue to play really well so far, like they have been doing. But a couple players from the Dallas Empire are going to spawn at that dark area. This is going to set up a clinch. But ShawNy on a 5 streak. Dylan following up with another on a Crimsix. They're fighting back in this game, Lano. This is far from done.
This is, my friend. It's looking to be a good one, giving us what we hoped would happen to start the day. London fans, I'm sure if we were in an arena, they'd be erupting right now. Excited for what their team has been able to show us up to this point. iLLeY, he ends up getting taken down in what would have been a major fight for Dallas Empire. Shotzzy over in lights. He'll drop one as well, but really, it's nothing collective, right? It's only certain 1v1s going in the Dallas Empire's way. Of course, just as I say that, they're able to grab a little bit more real estate on the map. Dylan wins the overall trade. Back and forth we go. 20 points separating the Ravens and the Empire. Rotation advantage, at least right now, in favor of the Ravens, but you also got to take a look at that clock, right? 29.4 seconds. We saw that happen actually in the Paris series versus Florida yesterday. Paris pretty much hopped off the point, and I want to say it was actually on Garrison, so something to keep in mind. If nobody's in the hill or contesting, that time is going to tick away. Something that really Dallas Empire could use in their advantage, but 5 seconds left. Ravens, they've got the time still, and they are set up for that next rotation. Player 8, it is going to be Alex grabbing that time early.
This can get scary if you're the Dallas Empire. You have one break to try to break towards this. They're not going to win off of this hard point here, so you have to make sure you keep the rotation for that P3, but you don't want to give the Ravens any streaks, any chance at being able to break your next setup. Dylan holding bricks, able to take down Huke. Here comes Crimsix sliding through the side door. A couple shots are going to go in the back. Dylan going huge in the back alley. Unfortunately, he's going to drop, but Crimsix doing everything he can from that. He's going to drop as well. Shotzzy in a one-on-one versus Alex. He's going to get taken down. So far, the Ravens have officially taken the lead, and they are forcing Dallas Empire to spawn back P5. This is the best case scenario for the Ravens. They continue to hold this. Don't forget, only 12 seconds on the clock. They can just hop off of it, but they are deciding to just give it up. Rotate set up for the new. This game is far from over. We have yet to see Dallas Empire break this P3. Can they do it now?
12 seconds on the clock. Again, Empire with the slight advantage. Ravens, can they put it away here? Can they lock up the game and send us to a Game 5 S&D? It really all comes down to one of these final few pushes. Ravens with the advantage. A few trades starting to come in. Shotzzy tries to make his way through the flank, and Huke is here. Huke's alive, but he ends up getting dropped, and he actually may set up iLLeY for the flank. Shiny just happens to dive on out, and the Ravens regain control. They hop off the HP and say, hello, Empire. Welcome to a Game 5, another hardpoint on Garrison, really in which the time is of the essence, the time is the overall factor, and the Ravens, they reply here in another hardpoint, sending us to a Game 5 study.
The third rotation of hardpoints right there out of the Ravens was absolutely beautiful. They went to go contest P1 down to the very end. Then they also kept the spawns for that P2, did not give up streaks to the Empire for them to try to break it. They were also able to flip Dallas and spawn them towards that back P5, which was the best case scenario for the Ravens. They completely dominated that entire P3 hill, the entire map, and they were able to close it out there, man. Congratulations to them. We're going to a map number 5, Lando. I cannot believe this series has made it this far, but I'm excited to see how it ends.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be the first one to say it. Like, I thought we were going to be done here in Garrison Hardpoint. I thought that was going to be it, you know, in general. When we talk about the way that this game has just been going, the Empire really kind of starting to pick up some momentum. We talk about the end of the Garrison control was strictly about, hey, Huke, Shotzzy, their streaks. I'll tell you what, man, this Ravens is a much different one than what we saw yesterday. I mean, one of the fastest, one of the most dominant 3-0s that we have seen in a very, very long time. And we talk about comparisons, right? They lose to the NYSL. In the Kickoff Classic, it was the Dallas Empire who dominated the NYSL themselves. So if you're talking about comparisons, the way this one was looking at times, it was screaming that this one has to be the Empires. But Ravens, they're making things interesting. No 3-0s to start off the day at the very least. In fact, a Game 5. Dallas Empire versus Ravens. Here we go, folks, right after this quick break.
Whoa! Up over the top! Not a single given. London has burst into life. CDL up top. That is a force free for him. There's number 5.
Taking you higher. Yeah, the lights getting brighter. Out of control. I'm ready to move. I'm ready to go. Got something to prove.
Ravens looking to cement themselves as the kings of Europe.
Customize your Call of Duty in-game experience with CDL League Packs and Team Packs. Gear up with operator skins, stickers, emblems, calling cards, and charms. For more information, go to callofdutyleague.com. I tell you what, Study, I absolutely adore these team packs. I've been rocking them on pretty much all of my classes when I'm loading into league play. But a new one that's I'm probably on most of them after this series is done. I'm rocking the Raven skin way more often. I'll tell you what, they've given us a game 5. They've made this one competitive. London, I know it's getting a little bit late, but you got to stay up for this final game of Search and Destroy, sending the defending champions the distance. A series study that we talked to start today. Kind of morbid for the Ravens, to be honest with you. They take a beating yesterday versus the NYSL. It was not a close hard point. The Search and Destroy was just not great. Neither was the control. One of the fastest controls that we have seen in COD history. And they come in today and just dominate the hard point. Obviously, we see Dallas Empire respond back with Moscow Search and Destroy, Garrison Control. And again, in the hard point, it is London showing some grit and taking this one to a Game 5 on Miami Search and Destroy. Oh boy, I'm excited. I know everybody's excited to see Game 5 considering the amount of 3-0s that we had yesterday. Let's go and take a look at our Astro Social soundboard powered by Astro. And it's Dallas Empire coming at us, and it all comes down to Miami SND. Does in fact Dallas
Yes,
Empire Search and Destroy, I know it's always been talked about, wins championships. I know it's kind of changed as time has progressed, but I know there's been a few people, a few analysts, talent team members who've been talking about Search and Destroy and kind of its impact on the league this year, how it's obviously been a mode since 2007, 2008. And really this year with how competitive that we have the CDL, with the amount of teams and talent that exists on these rosters, probably going to see a lot more of these Search and Destroys, and especially those Game 5s outside of yesterday, of course, kind of remain to be the difference makers. So Search and Destroy really obviously is going to kind of tell the tape in regards to this series, and I'm expecting it to be one of those game modes that probably is arguably more important than it has been in prior years.
Yeah, it's definitely a really important game mode. It's been an important game mode for the last 10 years. SD wins you championships at map 2 and map 5. The only thing about this series is I did not expect the Ravens to win 2 hard points, especially versus the Empire. So I know their momentum is through the roof right now, especially after such a comeback on that map number 4. Going into this map number 5, we know that the way that the Dallas Empire like to play their offense. They like to play slow and steady, play for the information, and eventually push up and play their numbers correctly. But I would like to see the London Royal Ravens just completely throw them off. Probably some A pushes, probably some slow B pushes towards that top purple area, or just working around the garage side. I can't wait to see how these guys are able to break down this map in this game number 5.
It'll be fun. Miami, our final location, resting place for this series. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. Dallas Empire. Huge series for them, one that we thought probably going to go their way. Ravens showing us exactly why we should have never doubted them. In B-Site, the more common one, at least so far from what we've seen through the CDL matches. But snipers and smokes, maybe in the future could become more common, but at least for now, the reason why we see B be such a primary target, but for Empire off the rip, it is going to be that A site that they have in mind. Despite that, though, it is Parasite taking down iLLeY to begin with. Shotzzy's had the bomb. He's really just trying to locate and find where Parasite is roaming. Trying to hang out behind a palm tree where you'd like to be, but not when there's gunfire coming at you. Built 3 versus 4. Shotzzy gonna look to punch in the digits.
Trying to plant that bomb, but he's gonna get taken down by Dylan. There goes Crimsix for the trade. Now the Empire in a 2v3 situation. Parasite able to spot Crimsix. A couple shots is gonna force him to back down from that engagement. But look at number 4, Mr. Huke. He's trying to play for a B pinch. Too bad the players are pushing through. He realizes no one wrapping back, so now he has to try to get back to his teammate, work towards his bomb plant. They know exactly where Parasite is. Is Huke going to try to come up behind him, and that's exactly what he's trying to do. Crimsix not going to force the bomb plant. Parasite jumps out the window. Great play out of Parasite. Now it's Huke left in a 1v3, able to take down Alex. There's just not going to be any time on the clock to get this bomb down. All the London Royal Ravens have to do is just stay alive, and phenomenal round out of the Ravens right there, especially Parasite. Being an island player at that A-bomb site is not an easy task to get done, especially by yourself. But he definitely made it look easy there, staying alive the entire time and picking up 3 kills on the round.
Yeah, I think that first blood kind of sets the tone for the Ravens. Like, I mean, when you're trying to make your way up Beach Street, it's it's a difficult one, or beach side, excuse me, the top side of the map. But I mean, like I said, it's never going to be an easy task. And obviously, when you're on offense and you lose a player to start off, it was really from the beginning to end, really slowed up the Empire's push. Again, as you called it, like to play things a little bit slower here on Miami. See what the Ravens have in mind when it comes down to their first offense, and already changing things up over at B. Parasite, after first round, does escape with the hat trick. We've seen, what, a number of different sequences here on Miami. A lot of players, or rather a lot of teams, enjoying this particular map, and Craig has seen a lot of usage. These long shots, oh so important, especially without snipers right now. 50 seconds still yet for anyone to drop. Ravens trying to play this one as careful as possible, trying to find that same pick that they did last round. Huke currently top purple. They get the call, early engagement versus Dylan, and Dylan's going to walk away with it. Shotzzy just a little bit too late to the party. Parasite decides to go for the rotation, so keep in mind, there is some B presence still occurring, but that bomb is possibly going to be rotating now toward A. They've got the call, but Shawnee's been looking toward this beach side the entirety of the time. Shotzzy's going to get picked, and that's going to be a 2 versus 4. Ravens, a free bomb right now over at A. The closest player to it is going to be Crim with the Krig, called Crimsix. Possible play to be made. London able to get the bomb. Crim again from afar, able to drop Shawnee. Levels it now to a 2 versus 2. Question is, iLLeY find the pick? They're trying to line him up from afar. That's going to be one. Alex able to drop the other. 1 versus 1. iLLeY v Alex. Alex, prone, tries to fire away a few shots, just happens to get around the corner. Again, some time to play with, tries to toss out the nade. Really not going for the defuse just yet. Tries to clear him off, and Alex brought down to 78 HP, now 68, goes for the challenge. iLLeY wins it, but that is not going to be enough time to go for the defuse, and the Ravens hold on, and that's going to be their second.
Yeah, and you got to feel good if you're the Ravens right there. That was almost a 4v2 throwaway, especially on an offensive round when you open up the first 2 bloods. You saw Parasite with a great corner in that purple area, able to pick up a shot onto Shotzzy, but Crimsix tried to do everything that he can. I eliminated 2 players and eventually setting up iLLeY to try to flank the guy on bomb. Big 1v1 though, out of Alex. Good patience out of the Ravens right there to put themselves up 2-0 on the map. If you are the Empire, it's just all about just slowing down. You saw Huke sitting top purple by himself. Fortunately, he commits to the gunfight. Dylan read him easy, was able to take him down. I would like to see more team pushes out of the Dallas Empire, at least being aggressive towards that purple area with 1 more player, not having Huke sit by himself.
Empire in desperate need of a round. Again, so many different sequences where we didn't think that was actually even going to be a thing today. Huke, first one to engage in top purple, gets the great timing. Dylan's there for the trade. Has to back up, get some good damage, and again, the utility is just going to be tossed back and forth. Huke doesn't care. Decides to rush through it, does get some nice real estate when we talk about that bomb site. It's iLLeY set up. Now a 1 versus 3 for Parasite, starting things off 4-1, 3 of those coming in the first round. What a play this would be for Parasite if he can come away with it, but that will be Dallas Empire getting a little bit more aggressive than last time, and clearly it works out, but a lot of it's just based off of his presence early in purple. Huke making the plays.
Yeah, and it's just like I said, the aggression works for the Empire. They need to stay aggressive in their search to destroy. They play their trades, catch the players from the opposite team off guard. Just play the timings correctly, and that's exactly what they were able to do, capitalizing on that offensive round there. Now they're going into another defense. The Ravens, the way that they played it on their very first offense, they just slow played it. They waited for a couple players from the Empire to either rotate back towards B or eventually just make some noise around the map. Once they were able to open up a first blood, they just wrapped it. So I would like for the Empire to just play back, play safe, exactly what they're doing now. 4 spread, watching every single lane is the perfect play.
Really where it kind of gets difficult right on Miami. I think the mindset we actually are going to see from Shotzzy. A lot of teams kind of want to try to gain some mid-map presence, and that will be bombed down. Shotzzy with a big first blood. Alex not happy about it, but Alex isn't going to say a word. Shotzzy, I want to say single-handedly, pretty much just breaks open this round, but just an excellent play, uncharacteristic, and a flank coming from that position over at Beach. Johnny drops. That's going to be Empire with their second. Again, Shotzzy making the plays. This is what we kind of expected last year, right? In Search and Destroy, a lot of different plays for the Empire. S&D was kind of one of their main modes, especially in that Champs Grand Final. They just had a number of different strategies. You always have to be prepared for this Empire onslaught. And they catch the Ravens sleeping in that moment.
So far, aggression is working for the Empire. You're seeing players with those submachine guns just get through these openings that the Ravens are not watching. Shotzzy decided to push right through breach and was just able to just hit right up middle map, able to open up the big first blood and eventually get 2 with great shots onto Alex. Now they're going to find themselves on this offensive round. Their A push got shut down single-handedly by Parasite last time. Parasite is going to decide to play this a little bit more different. Switches to that SMG, plays a close corner on this bomb site. Are they going to be able to read this? Or are they expecting to be around that boat area or even back beach with an assault rifle?
Parasite, sometimes it can be hard, right? Just stay in a corner the entirety of the round and really just kind of, based off those shots alone, Dylan's going to give the call to Parasite saying, hey, at least I got Crim through mid. That should be a sign that indicates things may be a little bit too quiet over here at this B bomb site. Huke, the only player for the Empire, across the map, and Shotzzy being oh so careful. You get the sand a little bit in the shorts, but no problem there. Parasite from the flank, happy to take him down. First blood from the Ravens. The nade comes in, and Parasite's pretty much just trying to dance over at the side. Huke gets cut off. Really from afar, tries to do some damage from the boat. Crimsix actually soars out here at the B bomb site. He'll have to do this one all by himself. Ravens are there to cut him down.
Parasite, Mr. Parasite, making the plays when he needs to the most. He shuts down the A push on their very first defensive round. Then he shuts it down as well on their second round. Changes up his play completely. Like I said, switches to that SMG. Unfortunately, Shotzzy does not check that corner. Parasite playing really well in Search and Destroy in general, man. 6-3, really leading this team to try to close out this map number 5. Running at SMG too, man. When you talk about Parasite, we talk about one of the probably the best ARs of all time in Call of Duty. The guy's a world champion for a reason, but he can do it all. And he's showing it right now, especially with that SMG.
Yeah, he can do it all. I know he's going to rock a few different weapons throughout this game. Nice timing coming in from Huke. No, he wanted the second one, and they're going to try to set up. This is what can occur at times. Player in top purple tries to distance them out, so the guy over in Highway is able to go for the trades, and then are able to nuzzle their way out of there. They do lose a man in Dylan. That rotation is what they've got in mind. Shotzzy's still hanging out through mid.
Yeah, they have no idea that Shotzzy's going to be in this position. He's going to be able to piece 2. Able to take down one, his teammate in Huke, able to take down another. Now it's Alex left in a 1v4. That flash grenade is going to come in and make perfect information for the entire team. You see all the arrows turning on the mini-map, just flooding towards this speed side. Alex trying to come around, able to take down one in Crimsix. Shotzzy trying to put down a couple shots, but great plays out of the Empire to just take control of that purple building. Huke, great first blood, just being aggressive towards the top. But you could just tell Shotzzy was really in a great position there to just cut off and ruin the Royal Ravens party there, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, just really overall great plays, kind of roaming through middle. I think the Empire kind of knew, right? After that first pick comes in over at top piano, top purple, whatever you want to call it, kind of slows the roll a little bit. And as things started to get a little bit more quiet, Shotzzy realizes the lane is open through mid, and really from there just kind of deludes what the Ravens may have been cooking up. But 3-3, this one been competitive to start. Don't want to say anything just yet, but fantastic series up to this point. Some early utility in toss down as Empire, at least to start, are going to slow things up a little bit.
Look at Parasite once again.
Take a look at player 5.
Parasite pushes right through that beach side. No hesitation. Knows that he's single-handedly shut down that A pusher. They're most likely going to commit towards a B. Going to be completely uncontested. The only player that can possibly locate him is going to be number 2 in Crimsix. This might be bad timing from Parasite. Unfortunately, Crimsix is not here anymore, buddy. But he is going to have this top balcony control. Bomb's looking like it's going to go down for the Empire. Parasite needs to come through and make a play for his team. Not going to be able to spot Crimsix. Crimsix with a big first blood onto Parasite. Here comes Dylan with the trade. Now it's a 3v3 situation. iLLeY trying to do everything he can from top purple, able to take down Shawnee as well. 2v3 situation. iLLeY with 2. Now it's a 1v2 for Dylan. He's going to drop. And the Empire, even though the positioning out of Parasite, are going to walk away with that offense.
Oh man, that's just the definition of COD timing. I mean, what if Crim kind of stays in that top window? Parasite has the ability to just break open because they're essentially waiting for Crim, right, to kind of give them the call to say, all right, jump, like go and head on out there. And once that pick comes through from Parasite, they know they've got the man count advantage. They know the flank is clear. Huge opportunity for Parasite, but Crim go for a reason, right place, right time. Sets up his young guys to fly, and that's exactly what they do. 4-3, Ravens revisit offense. Again, it's at times been kind of back and forth, really, in terms of aggression. Johnny 0-5 up to this point. And receive a few shots and try to join back with this team.
Nice slow push coming in from the Ravens towards that top purple. But Huke's in a greater position. He decides to take towards this top room area in top purple. Make sure he's controlling his top balcony and telling his teammates that nothing is going to flank you from this area. He has Shotzzy's back, so these guys are going to be a duo in this situation. Nades coming down from Shotzzy into this garage side. Able to locate one player. He might be able to catch iLLeY coming over the hop, but iLLeY, some great shots onto Dylan, able to open up with the first blood.
And what we saw last offense, right? It's a matter of the first pick. That one drops. And it's Ravens on the rotation. But due to those kind of shots through middle, which is pretty much just to try to make sure it's free, you know that Dallas is going to be aware that that route toward A very well could be a likely one. Again, Crimsix just off toward the side. iLLeY able to fire in some more shots. I'm going down. Tries to run around the corner. He'll take down Parasite. And how about a second one for iLLeY? Crim also shuts down Shawnee. That's going to be the defuse as the Empire will reach their 5th. Nobody dropping 3 rounds in a row. And very well could be the final one of the game. Unless the Ravens can pull off something special. But really, I think it's fair to say, Study, throughout that entire round, got iLLeY's signature all over it.
Yeah, it's just too much time from the Ravens, man. They commit towards B right off the rip. Unfortunately, they drop one player, so they go down in a man. And they decide to just wrap it towards A with only 30 seconds. All of Dallas Empire are alive. Crimsix was playing that back beach area, giving all the callouts. So they only know you have to commit towards that A bomb. iLLeY being aggressive right up the middle map, jumps towards the top AC, decides not to go for the bomb carrier first and just kill the player with an actual gun in his hand, which was Parasite watching over him, was able to close out and get the 2-piece. Now they found themselves 1 round away. But if you're the Ravens, you need to make quicker decisions. You cannot wait till 30 seconds to wrap the bomb completely around the other side. Hopefully going into this defensive round, they're able to win this to show me a different offense. But the way that the Dallas Empire are playing, looking like they're trying to take control of this top purple. But unfortunately, Shotzzy's going to drop. Now they're down a man.
Ravens finally able to reply. I have no idea how iLLeY stays alive, but take a look at the angle that Huke's now got. Shawnee was watching over it. Huke a little bit too sneaky, and that could free up Purple a little bit. It's at least going to make things interesting. Shawnee able to get his first kill of the game, and that will leave Crim in a 1 versus 3. Again, it really just kind of comes down to that top purple fight. You've seen Empire players get some great timing, throwing some shoulders. Ravens are finally able to silence it. And they will stay alive for now, my friend.
Yeah, and it's all going to come down to just a duo between Alex and Dylan. Just being aggressive towards top purple, trying to ease the play from Huke and Shotzzy around that area. Able to open up with the first blood is exactly what you want to do. Staying aggressive, trying to match that intensity of the Empire. They're going into into an offensive round once again in this round number 10. And like I said, in their previous offensive round, they were just way too late on their play call to wrap that bomb. I would like to see them to commit more, especially on a round like this where it's coming down to the wire.
Down to the wire indeed, Ravens. Again, they want to engage over at B, and Dylan is going to be here. iLLeY, though, on the other end. They're going to realize this one is here, trying to take down a few shots under the white van. Dylan goes for the reply. He ends up getting dropped, and now it's all up to Shawnee. A 1 versus 3. The Ravens have sent the Empire the distance. The one guy who just unfortunately has had just a slow game, played well all series, but in regards to the search and destroy, it is all on to him. Bomb by no means in a favorable position. A few of them are going to line up, and that may have been his last opportunity. Good opportunity there for a pick. Runs toward the backside of the street, and that's going to do it. The Dallas Empire hold off the Ravens in a Game 5 thriller. An impressive performance, really, from London all series long, but the Empire, they're able to stay alive, closing out this game and getting their second win of the season.
That one's got to sting, man. If you're the Ravens, you win 2 hard points in this series. All you need is 1 search to destroy. Unfortunately, you lose both to a team in the Dallas Empire who dropped both of them last week to the Røkkr. So you can just tell they're getting a lot more confident in that game mode. They definitely showed throughout this series. They're definitely going to go back and watch those hard points, though. Fix those little mistakes. They cannot let that happen, especially versus some of these top dog teams throughout the entire rest of the season. But that was a phenomenal series, man. London Royal Ravens, they just came out to play today. Unfortunately, they fall a little bit short there, losing both the search and destroys 6-3 and 6-4 to close out that map number 5. But you got to take some good and some bad away from this. The good, they looked really well versus the Dallas Empire, especially in those respawns. The only thing about their control, which is their worst game mode, they couldn't win an offense. Now they're going into their search and destroys. That comes down to a lot of chemistry. You can just tell it's not all there for the roster yet. Johnny, unfortunately, does not have the performance that he was having the entire series, but overall, it was a tremendous series going all the way down to round number 10, game 5. Couldn't ask for a better way to start the day, Lando.
Definitely, my man. A great way to start the day, at least in comparison to what we saw yesterday, right? What was it? 3 3-0s. We were part of 2 of those. And to be honest, kind of start off the day, we kind of thought this one probably is going to be, in a 3-0 fashion, just given the way that the Ravens played yesterday. I mean, you kind of labeled it out very well. A lot of positives to take from the Ravens' performance, despite the loss. I know they kind of start off stage 1 in this Group A 0-3, but they're looking better, right? They're looking better than they did yesterday. I think for Dallas, maybe a few slow things out of the gate for them. Some things I know the roster obviously wants to work out. We'll obviously revisit the search and destroy and kind of take a look at one of the most influential plays throughout the entirety of this one. Our scuff play of the game. This one is actually going to be in round 7 as we'll go and take a look at it. Prem, again, having a number of different major plays throughout this. He finishes off, I think it was 10 and 5, 10 and 6, something like that. Finishes off with double digits, but this flank on Parasite, and now looking back at it, 3-3 Ravens, that could have sent us to a round 11 if obviously things play out the same way that they did afterwards, but that play from Parasite, a huge opportunity. Prim, the right positioning, gives the call for the young guys to fly, and that's exactly what they did.
Yeah, man, Parasite, he pushed up all the way through that beach street, man. He had such a great positioning, got all the information for his team. Unfortunately, Crimsix, the player that he is, he jumps out of the balcony and wraps back towards driveway. It was able to catch Parasite with his pants down, running through the middle of the map. And if you're Crimsix, great play, but if you're Parasite, that one's going to eat you alive because you know exactly where he was. Unfortunately, COD timing wasn't on your side. You lose that map number 5. But like I said, forcing the Dallas Empire to a game 5, if you're the Ravens, after the performance that they showed yesterday, is a drastic improvement.
Especially in the hard points as well. Good stuff coming in from London. However, Empire, it will be our victors. We'll take a look at the road to the stage 1 major for Dallas. Taking a quick look at their prior matchups. They obviously 3-0 the Surge to start things off. Lose that game 5 versus the Røkkr. They rebound in game 5 here versus London. They've got the Subliners coming up soon. We'll take a look at the London Royal Ravens now. Their stage 1 road to the major. 3 losses in a row. Again, it's been a better performance late, but really the big emphasis for them is kind of the end of their schedule, right? Dallas Empire, Thieves, Røkkr. Again, I want to take some positive things away, but just because of the format this year, these matches are important, right? And that's one of the best things about this season is that it's not like, hey, the early games, whatever. It's no, hey, every game really matters, especially for that seeding. London, unfortunately, getting off to a slower start, and it's just unfortunate that they kind of start to pick things up when their schedule is starting to get even more difficult. Not an easy road for London given the current circumstances, but still some positives to take away. Again, some good moments from London kind of throughout this, but one thing kind of keep in mind when we talk about the CDL is challengers, right? Challengers, we've had a number of different players to kind of watch throughout the season. Afro, substitute player for the London Royal Ravens, has been playing with House Tarth and challengers, an absolute dominant player. A stand-up player in Modern Warfare. Afro was kind of the player who won. Was part of the winning team from the EU Challengers. Obviously looking good as always. We've got Saints, former CDL player, showing some good signs for the Subliners. And that guy, Venom from Western, one of my personal favorite players in Challengers. Venom, that Western team has been absolutely dominant. Just a few guys to watch in particular from that Challenger side. Just massive shout out to everybody involved with Challengers, the entire broadcast team, the players, everything has been absolutely excellent. And I find myself watching Challengers a lot, Study.
Yeah, I watch it late night all the time, man. I love to watch the Subliners Academy team because my old teammate in Saints is still putting on an absolute clinic, man. And hopefully he's able to bounce back and make it to the Pro League, but right now he's still putting on a show.
Definitely. And speaking of a show, this series was absolutely excellent. Folks, again, Game 5 that we didn't necessarily expect, but hey, we'll take these treats from time to time. A great way to start off Day 3. I'm standing by with Huke right after this break.
The Call of Duty League is presented by T-Mobile, now America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile, the leader in 5G. Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by USAA Insurance, auto, renters, and home insurance that's made to help the military community protect what they've worked hard for.
It's your Victory Spotlight presented by Game Fuel. I'm Lando standing by with Huke of the Dallas Empire. Buddy, what? That was a great series, my man. A great series, a fun one, obviously, to cast. I'm sure maybe a little bit stressful at times from the player side, but hey, you guys are able to lock it up. I wanted to take you back quickly to, because we didn't get a chance to talk with you guys, obviously, at the Atlanta home series to kind of lock things up. What kind of ended on somewhat of a bitter note versus the Minnesota Røkkr. You guys dropped that one, losing the S&Ds. A very close round 5 in control. What were a few things that you guys wanted to work on coming into what is this super week of matches?
Just creating a game plan, and I don't know, man. I mean, S&D for sure. We lost that series, 2 S&Ds and a control, and then we won the 2 hard points. So like, to look at it in a positive way is like, yeah, we lost 2 S&Ds last series, and then this series we won 2 to win the series, but lost 2 hard points. So it's like we progressed in our S&D, but regressed in hard point. But it's all good. You know, there's a lot to be learned from this series, just like the last one. I felt like we learned a lot in S&D, and then hard point. At times I felt like I don't know. It just wasn't clicking as well as it normally does, but that's all right. You know, moving into the next match, we'll be more prepared.
Definitely, man. Definitely. So when it comes to the Super Week, sure, a lot of preparation has come into, the number of different matches that you guys have. I got to point out something, though, and we talked about this throughout the cast. I mean, the timeline has been talking about it. Your performance this year, my man, has been absolutely stellar. What, a 1.21 KD throughout this series. I know it's obviously not all about stats by any means, but just in general, stats that you've been putting up have been fantastic. What, leading in KD coming into this matchup, a 1.5 in hard point coming into this matchup as well. And I know that there was a big emphasis last year whenever we were seeing Shotzzy and iLLeY kind of get introduced to the team, was that you kind of decided to take a little bit of a step back, right, in terms of the role situation. Do you kind of feel that freedom again now with 4v4? We see you flanking a lot more often, just kind of feeling more free around the map. What is it about this season?
I mean, this season's definitely a lot different I mean, it's 4v4. And then when it just comes to me personally, I'm just, I'm trying to find my strengths again, to be honest. And I feel like whenever it clicks with everyone around the team and, you know, we're firing, we're just going to be even better. But no, I'm just happy to play the game again, man. You know, it's a great game and I love it. So, I mean, that's really all it is I'm really just falling in love with just the game more and more every single day. So that's I guess why I'm playing better, you know.
That's great, man. It's always great to hear. I know we've been watching you for a long time, ever since the late Ghost days, early Advanced Warfare days. It's great to see you be playing the way that you have, and obviously loving the game is obviously a big part of that. But Huke,
it's all about the love, man. It's all about the love.
It is, man. It definitely is. Well, Huke, thank you so much for joining me, my friend.
All right, yeah. Have a good day, brother. Later.
Appreciate it. That was your victory spotlight presented by Game Fuel. Again, Huke, appreciate you for joining me, my friend. But folks, we still got some great games to come. I know yesterday was kind of full of 3-0s. Today, starting things off with a nice little game 5. But when we come back, is the LA Thieves taking on the Seattle Surge. You do not want to miss it. We'll be back right after this.